You think that you're leading, you think that you're organizing the project in an appropriate way, but it really doesn't come out the way you think. So this whole idea of misleading is, am I leading, but am I leading people in a way that doesn't really get the job done and ultimately causes the project to collapse? So I'm going to come back to my question. What were the value conflicts? Let's first of all look at JT's values. He valued honesty and integrity. That was a very important thing to him. He valued hard work. And he believed that if they worked hard and worked well, that they would make a profit. And he wanted them to have a profit. After all, he wasn't doing this for himself. He made no money on this. He was doing this for them. And he wanted them to have a profit over a longer term, not just today. He said, you can make a profit as a co-op at the end of each year. We can save money. We can help you in the long term. He also was an individualist. Every man is responsible for his own work. This is a very deep American value. That you as an individual are responsible for your work, you're responsible for what you do, and so Jim is like this. The guy that has the bad berries, he's responsible. We're going to mark his box. An individualist viewpoint of this thing. Now these villagers had different values. Their first value was loyalty to their kinsmen. In other words, these people were born in this village. They grew up in this village. They're going to die in this village. The people that they are living with and seeing are the same people they've seen every day of their lives. And so these are not people that, just show up. These are people that you live with every day. And you played with them as a child. You went to school with them. You began to farm with them. You got married with them. And now you're a farmer and you farm with them and you're going to die with them. And so these people are people you're going to live with all of your life and you're loyal to them. And you don't want to hurt them because you know that you're going to see them tomorrow and the next day and the next week and the next month. So, one of your neighbors, the guy that you grew up with as a kid, he's putting bad berries in a box, and what can I say? I've got to live with him. And so it's really difficult to confront somebody in that situation. They also value working together. That's a very important part of their life. They work together all the time. They have worked together since they were young enough to begin working. And of course, like Jim, they value immediate profit. They want to have money. They need it. It's helpful. They pay school fees. They buy medicine. They have all kinds of things that it's useful to have money for. And they're interested in long-term relationships. In other words, lifelong. These people are my life. I have to live with them tomorrow. And they're collectivist. They basically live in community, and the community is much more important to them than the individual. And so this becomes something that's an important part. Now, Jim really didn't think about these value differences. And he didn't process them because it just wasn't on his horizon. That's not the way he thinks. That's not the way he works. But there were more value conflicts. Jim wanted everybody to earn a profit. He wanted to correct what he called the cheaters. The cheaters were the ones who were putting in bad berries, and that's the word he used for them. They were cheating. They were getting money and using bad things for it, and that was wrong for him. He said, if you're going to do this, you've got to follow the rules. And the rules are that you have to do it exactly the way I instruct you. And if you don't, it's not going to work. And then he said to me, are these people really believers? Do they know Jesus? Would they do this if they really were believers? And he questioned whether or not they had faith in Christ. Now the villagers, they had a different value. It's called take what you need. And I'll explain it. It works this way. Your child is sick. You're a woman. And you're nursing the child. You're caring for the child. You're trying to do everything you can to help this child get better. And you know you have to cook for the whole family. And you don't have time to go to your garden and dig up some more sweet potatoes. And so you're working and you're caring for your child, and you start out to your garden because you've got to get some potatoes, and you come, there's a nice stack of sweet potatoes stacked right outside of a garden of your neighbor just down the way. And so quickly you put about 5 sweet potatoes in your bag and you take them back to your house and you cook them. You don't have to dig and you don't have to get your own. Now, the neighbor's not going to complain. Everybody has sweet potatoes. She's got a lot more in her garden. It's not a big deal for the... But you know, she's upset. Well, somebody took my sweet potatoes. Oh, well, it must be so-and-so because she's got a sick kid and she doesn't want to go dig today. She doesn't say anything. Because she's going to have a sick kid. And she's done the same thing. In other words, if there's stuff out there and you happen to have an urgent need, you can take it. And people will look over it. They won't get upset because we live together. We have to share with each other. This is part of life. And so there's this custom, you take what you need. Furthermore, if you go to the market and you sell Jason some bad strawberries, you come back next week and Jason says, you know, those berries I got this week, they had a lot of rotten berries in it, you know, and I paid you for them. Well, okay, I'll give you some extra ones today. And so the farmer who gave him bad berries last week gives him a box of good berries plus some extra ones, because he wants Jason to buy berries the next week and he knows he'll lose them as a customer. So, you know, I got money last week and Jason paid me and now I give him more this week and it's okay, we worked it out. Well, you can't do that in Port Moresby. But it's the same basic idea, you know. I mean, they'll put bad berries in Jason's box, you know, and then fix it later. And so when they send them to Port Moresby, that you can't do that. Well, they don't really get that. You know, if you need something, you take what you need. And so that's a part of their culture and the way they think. You also overlook the taking. You don't get upset about it. You don't get angry because you got to live with those people. And it's a flexible, adaptable way of life. In other words, you have to go with the flow, they think about it. You know, there are certain things that you just have to overlook. And so they really can't confront each other. They don't know how to do that. And it's not something that is a part of their normal life. And they say, why are missionaries so hard to please? Why are missionaries so hard to please? Now the question then is, JT leading or is he misleading? But let's look what he did right. In project management, he had excellent relationship with the people. They liked him. They really liked him. He was helping them, and they admired him. He observed and he evaluated them. He knew that there were some guys that were doing this bad stuff. And so he developed a process to provide accountability, and it worked. As long as he was in charge. As long as he could hold people accountable. The local people, they adjusted to his accountability. They liked it. It was happy for them. They learned from success and failure. And everything was fine as long as JT was willing to run it. But you see, community development is not about the developer staying there all his life and working on running the project. And so this is why I say that JT was misleading. What he did is he used command and control to get this done. Okay, what does command and control mean? He put marks on the boxes. He said, I'm not going to buy any more from you. Well, he's commanding, he's controlling. Okay? This is what we call a technical solution. In other words, he's fixing it by making sure he gets no more bad strawberries, but he's not dealing with the real problem. The real problem is the values that are in conflict and the people that he's trying to work with. So I asked, did JT give the work of managing to take what you need back to the people? No, he didn't. He didn't give it back to them. He took it on himself. He tried to, and they wouldn't take it. But he didn't figure out how to do this in a way that would push them to create solutions. What was really needed was what we would call an adaptive solution rather than a technical solution. An adaptive solution is a solution that you have to come up with when the values people have and the reality they face are different. And that's exactly what was going on. The values these people had and the reality of selling strawberries in Court Moresby were in real conflict. And when that happens, technical solutions don't work. And Jim tried hard to get them to work, and he tried to get them to use the technical solutions, but it wouldn't work because he wasn't getting at the heart of the issue. So did JT lead or mislead? I think he misled. So we asked the question, why did it fail? Well, as Jim and I discussed this together, we agreed. It was default culture. Now, what is default? Default is what happens on your computer every time you turn it off. Everything shuts down, and when you open it up, it comes back up the same way every time. Okay? In other words, when you turn it off, whatever you had working on is closed, and you turn it back on, it comes up in the same way. Now, my computer is such that if I have Excel and Word and PowerPoint open, when I shut it down, it all shuts down. When I turn it back on, they all open up again. They all come back up. They default right back to what I had before. Okay. Now, default culture is what happens to people. Okay. You may learn something during the day. You go to bed and you go to sleep. You get up in the morning, and you're right back where you were in the morning yesterday. Default. You know, you see the world just like you did yesterday morning when you got up. You forgot what you learned. Okay. You know, you might make the same mistake today that you made yesterday. Oh, why did I do that again? Because you default. You just go back to what you knew before. Now, these people were defaulting to what they've always done all their lives. First of all, they're collective. That's their core value. They default to that. Secondly, taking what you need is a norm. They've always done that. And so when this, why is this different? Why shouldn't I do it here? So they default to that. Shame is getting caught. I got caught. Oh no, I feel so bad. You know, but if you don't get caught, no, good, no problem. You got extra money this week. Self and clan has priority over the co-op. Co-op is new. We don't know what co-op is. We've never had that before. I live in my village. I've got my clan. I have to love those people. I have to work with them. They're more important than the co-op. And so if the co-op fails, well, fine. My village can't fail. My clan can't fail. I have to live with those people. And so they conclude, if Jim would just solve this, we're all set. You know, it's a good project. Jim, you solve the problem. Jim has default culture. He's an individualist. He expects every individual to be responsible. He ignores collectivism. He doesn't even consider it. It's not part of his agenda. He doesn't think about this. He doesn't see that this is creating conflict for him.